So we're quickly going to take everybody from the beginning of creating a Spring project, right? From the actual creation all the way to basically making it run in Tomcat for the first time. Okay, so the first thing is the Spring initializer. So I've got it as a PWA, but you can just go to the website. Okay, I think Spring, which I actually have my notepads on the other side. Springboot.io. Let me just show you the website here. Start.spring.io. Right? So always when we're creating a backend project, we start from here. Okay? Maven, crucial. If you're gonna select Gradle or Groovy or whatever, you're on your own. Me and Mac won't know what to do with that. Java, okay, is the language we use. By the way, I don't even know what Groovy is. I've heard of Kotlin, but not Groovy. Then the current version we're using is this 3.3.11. Let's just stick to that unless you have a appealing case to make to Mac as to why we should go to a newer version, okay? For stability's sake, we just stick to the same version. Everybody understands? Happy? Okay. Generally, you'll start here with com.krillentech and then the project name. Okay. You understand that generally the project naming, these are just conventions. It's not that like you won't fuck up your project if you're doing it wrong, but it's just convention to go like your website URL then the project name. Just so that way if you ever go into a public repo, which we won't, that it doesn't conflict with other people. Okay, but we won't, so, but generally like for example if it's an LNA project, we would maybe like say com.lna, even though it's not a valid domain, or we don't own the domain, and then maybe warehouse if we're doing the warehouse project. Okay, warehouse, name warehouse, and the description, if you feel like it being a decent oak, you can type a description, but it's really not important. We never look at that. So deployment is 99.99999% of the time WAR. There is instances that we use jar. That would be if we're not planning on running it in a Tomcat server, right? So, but generally we run in Tomcat servers now. I don't think there's this local service is the only application that's currently running in a jar file. But even like LNA, when you joined, you converted it to Tomcat, because the issue with running it as a jar, now you need to create a service to start it at peace. It's just complicated for no reason, okay? The only benefit of it is it's quicker to deploy. You don't need to first install Tomcat and then. And Java version 21 is the one we're currently using. Okay? So generally this side you can add Lombok. Hey, stop moving my mouse. Lombok, Spring Web is needed. The is MySQL. Who's clicking on my screen? Guys, please. MySQL, this one. Remember we used to use MyBeta, so I tested it for a while. This one, right? Then the things to avoid, please do not import any like JPA files, Spring JPA. We do not import it, or the JDBC, Spring JDBC thing, please. Do not import it. It conflicts with MySQL, I'm saying MySQL, MCQL, which by the way should now be Mac and Chris, not Malumba and Chris anymore. So from here you just generate it, okay? Everybody so far following? Will then give you like a zip file, which I swear somebody's moving and clicking. Somebody's moving and clicking the mouse here. So we take this, we move it. I normally have a software folder, so I just chuck it on the softwares. Which one is this? Not software project. What's it? Software projects, yeah. And then API, but I'm just gonna create a new folder for test. So obviously this part you can chuck it wherever you want to chuck it. And then you see that's why Intel is shut. Did you see how long it took to just show the... I don't think that can happen in... so you'll have this folder structure. So then we go to NetBeans. I don't even know if my NetBeans is still working correctly, but hey, we'll find out soon enough, right? Okay, then you open the project and you wait like 2 to 8 weeks for NetBeans to load it. So in any case, for a project to work, you need to make sure that your server is set up your Apache Tomcat. I think we'll just do a separate one on how to set up your Tomcat server. But I think everybody here has the Tomcat set up, Tomcat 10 with Java 21 with virtual threads enabled. You're shaking your heads yes. Are you sure the answer is yes to all three of those questions? Huh? Okay, so just build it. Okay, so that's now busy downloading all the dependencies for us. Okay, that we've already included in the project. Okay, so two important things when setting up your projects, right, is the pom.xml file, okay, and then also under other sources you'll find this application properties file. So two things that's kind of crucial when you're setting up the first time. Okay, so your pom.xml up here describes to NetBeans, Java, Tomcat, what the general settings are. So okay, we're on Spring Boot, we're on version 3.11, that means Tomcat 10. What is the deployment type, what is the name, and then also I think at the bottom it's saying the Java version somewhere here. In any case, it also, yeah, here's the Java version. It's showing the Java version that we plan on deploying. The thing that you'll be mostly working on is this dependency. Yeah, you see these dependencies. Okay, so here is where you're going to be adding all your additional dependencies now that you want for this project. So we're going to give you a text file that has all the dependencies we want in every single project. Okay. But now you need to understand there's two things, right? So most of our dependencies come from the Maven repositories. Is everybody familiar with what the Maven repository is? Everybody? Backends? Do you know what's the Maven repositories? No. Okay. So there's a website that holds like all these libraries, right? There's Maven, right? So it holds, like you can search here for any dependency that you want, but let's be honest, nowadays we're just going to ask GPT for the dependency. Okay, but it's like a resource where all your Maven dependencies lay here. So generally when there's a Maven dependency or a registered dependency on Maven, right, you just put it here and it will go and download it itself. So you just paste, so the JavaScript guys, it's like npm. You just put it in, what's it, package, eh?
Yeah,
the package folder, and it will download it. But we have got some of our own libraries that's not registered. So we're gonna just show you quickly how to do those. So you have got two ways of doing it. One is to just paste it, the dependencies, because we've given you the text file, you can paste it here. So let me quickly copy that text file over to the screen. It's amazing how quickly it loads, eh? Not seeing the notepad. Thank you, Maki. So Okay, so we're going to give you the list of these dependencies, right? These are all the dependencies that we want in the project. Okay, so we're sharing this resource with everybody internally. Okay, so you just take this and you make sure that you in NetBeans, really NetBeans. Okay, in NetBeans we just paste it in here. So now you're going to find that some of them are already declared. If NetBeans is awake, it's claiming none of them are already there. So just make sure you don't have duplicates of the same thing. So duplicates of the same thing. So, oh yeah, it is. Yeah. So all of these needs to be removed because it's already declared up here. Okay. So generally, if you want to like copy and paste, you can just remove all the dependencies here and paste it in. I'm not the biggest fan of doing that because it can cause that your version number at the top, right, doesn't match up with the Spring Boot version that you've declared. So alternatively, what you do is like when you paste your dependencies, let's Control Z this. Okay, so is to not copy over the Spring specific, like these Spring specific things, because it can cause issues. Okay, so just copy from here down. You agree with that statement, right, Mackie?
Yeah.
So if you've imported it already via the Spring IO, then there's no need to import it again. Yeah, so you just do your other ones. So now what you'll find is like most of these are already ready to run. So when we build, it's going to actually go and download those dependencies for us, right? But you'll find that the ones that we have declared ourselves, like this model and MCQL, and is the utils here? I don't have utils. What via? Okay. So now you'll find like the ones that we do ourselves, right? You're gonna have to go to this dependency folder, and you're gonna have to go and manually install the artifact. We're all aware of how that works. Okay. Be careful on MCQL. There's two, right? When you go and manually install the artifact, there's two artifacts. You need to select the right one. If you don't have the actual jars, but you have the project and you've built the project, right? There's two artifacts there. There's the Uber and the normal one. You want the normal one. The Uber one was only for when you're using it in a jar, not in a WAR file. Okay, it will cause conflicts if you use the Uber one. Now on this thing, there's, geez, I can't remember where all my things are. Just 1 second, I'm just trying to remember where my MCQL is. Oh, it's not built. So normally you'll have it in your dist location, yeah, or in your in the target location. So be careful with these two, right? Select the one that's not Uber. We're all clear on that. When you're working on this on a project that's within Tomcat, you select this one. So basically what I'm saying, 99.9% of the time you select this one. Okay. And then models. Okay. It's under this PC C drive. Lyt-Soft. So, who here understands what models is? Or do you want to understand what is models? It's under build there. It's not under build. Source test.
This looks like the old one.
No, just the latest one. built it, I think. Who here understands what the model file contains? Can anybody explain to me, please?
So it contains different classes.
Try again.
No, it's a horrible explanation. My gosh. Let's try again. You're right, but that's like saying that the project contains variables. That's not the question here, okay?
I think it contains classes that are used in multiple projects. So like you don't want to write that model in each separate project. Just one of the projects like that.
Somehow, but also not 100% true. It's not the purpose. What's the purpose, Robert? What's in models? When do we add things to models?
I think it has classes that are in the database.
You have what?
Extends schema.
Say again?
Classes that extends schema.
Okay, not all of them, but yes. So basically, there's two types of modeling we're doing there: JSON modeling and SQL modeling, right? So you'll find like our standard Lyt-Soft DB, all the tables are in there for SQL Mapper. Then you'll find like for DBs that we use in multiple projects, we also map them in there. And then JSON objects that we use in multiple projects, we also map them in there. Okay, so it's like that uses the reflection API in multiple projects is in there. Do we all know what's the reflection API? Okay, just to quickly, reflection is what's used in when you're doing mapping and you don't know what is going to be in the class. So reflection API is the thing that reads the class. You've seen that, right? The thing that like you just pass it a class and it will like now go and read what's in the class and then map strings to objects. You understand what I'm saying? So like JSON, the way it maps a object to strings and strings to an object. So that's the reflection API that does that. So anything that uses the reflection API across multiple projects, we should put it here in model. So I haven't even seen it in some time, but yeah. So here like tickets, web payments, DSR, JSON models, and then also like when you go into, where's our DB model? So this should have all of Lyt-Soft's DBs in here, all of Lyt-Soft's tables. Okay, so generally, Mac, what else have you modeled in here?
I think that's pretty much it. Most of them would fall under our DB models.
So generally what we don't want in here is like, this is fine. We don't want you to be coding in here, please.
No logic must be.
No logic should ever be in the models class, okay? It's purely like a mapping, let's say library for mapping all our tables and stuff so that we're just able to map. Like this is wrong, right? Okay, but it's for models, okay, so that's okay. Does models have a version?
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised. Okay, so this is okay, but generally we don't want to see this type of stuff where we're putting in values into models, okay? This software projects API models, okay? So yeah, we're using models.
Just the ABC that you edited.
Okay. My gosh, this thing. So API models. Okay, so I know some of you won't ever use the models file when you are actually coding, right? Like maybe especially with the corpses, right? We don't always use the models, but just import it, please. So to just have a standard template of how all our things work, okay? And also if we want to make something like we're creating an API that we want maybe Lyt-Soft to later use, it's good to add it to the model so that when it gets to them, they can just call up the models and run it. Okay, that they don't have to again create their own models. Understood? But generally we don't want them, so we'll only be using models in JSON, not in MCQL in there, because we don't want them to write into our tables. Okay, they must use the API to access our data. Are we understanding that? You understanding? You understanding? Or I should say it again. The Lyt-Soft guys, right? We can put JSON objects for them there, like model the JSON, but we shouldn't be like doing MCQL for them in there, right? Because we don't want them to write into our DBs. They should only write into our DBs via the API. Okay? As if it's a third-party vendor. We can add the models there if we just want to make their lives easier for the integration purposes of the JSON object, not of the DB. Are we getting it? Yes looks extremely hesitant, but fine. And then, Mackie, can you quickly add utils for me here, please?
Okay.
There's one here that looks like, it's just, okay.
Okay, so with utils, let's just see our POM XML file. Do you have the project in here? So it took
What utils? I don't know what version I have, to be honest with you. Now show them, while you're busy with it, show them how to do it via the dependency interface.
So what do you mean with the dependency interface?
Like add dependency via the dependency interface.
No, I haven't used it in a while.
Yeah, just right click add dependency.
So
So this is if you want to add a dependency as well.
yeah.
Just explain it to them.
So if you want to add a dependency, right? Say like I want to add utils here. So I'll say like the group ID will be com dot.
Yeah, it's just laggy, Mark. Oh, com dot.
Oh my goodness. So it's trying to auto populate every.
Never call your group dependency com.
Yeah.
Because it's trying to auto load from the Maven repo every single com. So that's can take a while.
Doesn't look like I can cancel it.
No, just give it a minute.
In any case, while we're waiting for it, let me just go through what, does everyone know what utils does first? No? Okay, so utils is basically a library that just has all different utilities that we can use to in our project. So you find like normally if you're making API calls, for example, there is the send request class that you can just say like send request.make post request. That it will at least allow you to make an API call and then it will give you a standard HTTP response object. So there's also like send request async where you make an API call that you don't exactly expect a result from. There is also a few other libraries you see like the JSON handler, which is basically the JSON library's implementation, but JSON handler just makes it easier that you can just import it as a service and you can basically pass from JSON into JSON.
Another thing, like Oscar, you were struggling with converting to Excel.
Yeah.
Like, so there it's in that. So you can convert JSON into Excel
And vice versa.
and Excel. What do you mean vice versa? Excel into JSON?
Yeah.
You can convert Excel into JSON.
Yeah. You can.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't aware we had done that library. So generally it's good to use the library that's already there, right? Because then we understand the implementation, right? It makes it more consistent when you're using the same library as everybody else. So like all our projects that does an Excel export uses the same thing. And that's a nice thing with object orientation, right? When you're doing it that way, when we then release an update to do it better, it will update it automatically on all our projects. Okay.
Okay. So the utils version that has everything right now is version 4.
Just to be clear on something here, it's not important really what you type here.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's just
This is just a reference locally in your project. It means nothing actually. Okay, so don't worry about like making sure that it is
It's-
version 4 or something.
Yeah. So then, let's see.
I don't think I have
don't
utils there.
Okay. So we can just add it.
and then go and right click.
Alright, so yeah, so just so you can see, right, once we add utils, it will show up like that. Then we can later import the jar the way I'm sure you saw he manually imported it.
No, I don't think I
let's
have the utils jar on my PC now. You want to quickly see if I do?
Yeah,
go
the
there.
easiest way to.
Yeah.
Which one? This one?
Non-IntelliJ. Just go to utils and not okay. File, open projects.
Yeah. Let's see.
There should be utils somewhere there.
Oh, there's version 2 here.
That would be the latest one I have.
Okay. So you don't have it here, but
Just import it in any case and then
see.
But check where is it, the version 2 utils. Check the file location.
Let's see here. Where did I see it now? Software
One up.
API. Software app projects API YouTube library.
So just import that one for now. So we're just importing version 2, but generally you'll import version 4 now.
Yeah.
So all of you need to have access to that repo. So if you don't have access to that repo as a backend, you need to let us know.
Let's see. Was it YouTube?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's the dependency imports done, but it's not done yet with setup. Okay. So now the other thing we need to do is in here in application properties, okay, we need to enable virtual threads and we need to include the sentry text. So we're going to share this with you. All of this needs to be copied and pasted in here. Okay. So everybody understanding that? People are looking at the screens hella confused. You're not understanding what that is?
Does everyone even know what
Oh,
Sentry
did we
is?
even import Sentry? I haven't imported the Sentry. Or you gave me the actual dependency already. Is it here?
Let's see. The dependency is there, yeah.
It is here? Okay, great. Okay, so this is under application properties, right? Other sources, main resource, application properties, okay? So this is virtual threads. I don't feel like explaining it now, just always include it, please.
It's an interesting concept.
It's like, okay, basically it takes physical cores and converts it to RAM-based cores. Yeah, okay. Just for scale it's needed, let's just put it that way. And then the Sentry things, okay, is it's a new thing we're including in all our projects. So what that does is like when your project throws an error, it's loading it for us onto a dashboard so that it's easier for us to see when the thing is throwing errors, that we don't have to like run it locally and see it per se. Okay? It's also being included in front ends, by the way. All your projects will now have Sentry, and then we'll be able to see the errors per week and keep you accountable on your error count. Right, Gift? So just include this for now. Okay. Now, in our actual packages here, you find natively there's two things here, right? So, in the servlet initializer, we need to include our, is it in servlet initializer? Yeah, we need to include our MCQL things. So the easiest way to do it is just to go to another project that has it and just copy and paste it over, which is what I always do. If you don't have one, we'll provide you with a template. This is too many things, it's just this that we want. So, boom. We can even put the. So, okay, yeah, we put it in a thread. It's not really necessary, but what, do you prefer it in a thread or not?
Prefer it.
Prefer it in a thread, okay. No need to justify, just say it is. Okay. I think the reason is because if you don't put it in a separate thread and it throws an error, it won't start the app. So like that, just copy. Format. Okay, with NetBeans giving me hassles. So generally you'll have two types of connections. Yeah, so I'm gonna just clear out all of these. People, stop moving your mouses, please. Okay, you'll have two here. So which is like one would be your local DB like connection, and then so yeah, we can just name it Caravan. And then your local password, and then here you'll have your online one, which I'm not going to share the details with here per se, but we all know the online configuration, right? So just the only thing that I see people have and this thing not format anymore. What has happened? The only thing I've seen you guys have a confusion with, the newer guys, is this last option here, right? So that is to do with data pools, okay? So MCQL does some connection management for you behind the scenes, okay? So what you're basically telling it is like, I almost want to say the max connections that you ever expect at a single time on your project. So depending on how busy you are, I would normally say like 4 times the user base would be a good guesstimate of where your max connection size is. Just know if you set it too low, it's going to actually make your project not work. Okay, so be cautious on this, rather set it higher. Okay, don't set it too low. But in testing, on your testing one, make it 1, please, because you're going to close. That's why you guys are always getting the connection freak out on the SQL server, because Ikari data pools runs on Tomcat, not on your project, right? So meaning when you restart your project, it's creating another 5 connections, not closing the other 5. So that's why you guys are getting max connections on the local server the whole time. Okay? The only way to make it disconnect all the connections is to restart Tomcat. Okay, so you know that thing where you're asking Mac always restart the SQL? Yeah, so just make this a 1 while testing. Okay, so on your test connection, make it a 1. On your production, especially you on your production thing, like really fucking amp it to like 40,000 or something. Make sure that it's high. But on your test one, make it 1. And then generally, I think I want us to introduce is to create at the top of our project a variable called public static Boolean, no, production. Okay. So just, my gosh, who's moving mouses here? Make sure your mouse is not over my screen. Everybody, make sure your mouse is not over my screen. It's okay. Can you not also click? Okay. Are we done now? Oh my gosh, people, stop clicking.
The screen is going.
Okay, so then if really NetBeans, are we gonna now be at this level the whole where autocomplete's not a thing?
That's going to take a minute.
So, no, people, I'm just going to restart my NetBeans because I'm not going to work like this where I can't format anything. Yes, NetBeans at its best, huh? Yeah, please. Is anybody watching the live stream? Just quickly check, maybe that we are streaming. Just let's be sure. Imagine, even at this point, it would be super frustrating if we were not streaming. But imagine the whole day and then like there's no content. You just have like a blank screen. And you can hear it. There's audio.
Yes, yes.
Okay, the fact that it took so long is slightly concerning, but fine. Like why did? Where's my project?
The warehouse.
Oh.
You have to rebuild it, it looks like. Oh, with all the new libraries, I presume.
We thank God for NetBeans, right? Let's see if formatting works now. Oh, it's not working. Okay, so basically just to use that production variable to, when we make it true or false, that we don't, like, because there's some configurations we use on production and not production. So like, guys, when we're doing like APIs and stuff as well, you sometimes have your production URLs and your non-production URLs. So if we can put everything in that wrapper, then we can just say production true, and you understand what I mean? Because it's really frustrating when at 2 a.m. we upload the thing, right? And then 6 a.m. we're getting phone calls that fuck all is working, okay? So generally, let's just add a production variable. I think it would be the safest option. We all agree on that, right? Just to make our lives easier. Okay. Now the next thing is we need to import a bunch of classes. So you'll find like this utils class in most projects, or util package, I will not say class. Util package, so not cut, copy. Generally, like, needs to be in every single project, so just paste that in here. Okay, it's gonna bomb like shit. Okay, we're all aware of that. But it's an easy way to fix the bombing is you take the current URL, Control C. Oh my gosh, my NetBeans is slow. We're gonna have to go onto another PC how slow this is. Like, it's not
Working.
It doesn't even realize it's in the wrong package yet. It's gonna take too long to work like this. Chulufia, look at me in the camera. I need a new PC. I can't work like this. Jeez. Unexpected exception. Nice NetBeans. I was thinking Alienware. Just saying.
Oh, there we go. At least the build knows it's.
It would be really nice if. In any case, guys, this is a great time to do troubleshooting on NetBeans. So there's a thing called NetBeans caches like your things. Do you know that? In app data. So if it's doing this dumb shit, you need to go and delete the app data for NetBeans. So let's, and then are we gonna stream that as well? Because I'm gonna have to go and delete the NetBeans cache.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, we'll make this a sub snippet that we'll put on a separate video for when you have NetBeans issues. So when you go under the user app data, by the way, I have to close NetBeans. It won't work while it's open. App data. Well, I think I'm Chris, right? App data. Is it roaming? It's NetBeans.
Yeah.
But just know one thing, right? It's gonna remove all your projects when you open it, eh? So you have to reopen your projects that you want. As far as I remember, it doesn't delete your Tomcat, but we'll find out soon. Such a quick button to press for everything to go away. But it does speed up your NetBeans a lot, eh? When you clear that app data. Oh, also, I'm going to explain templating later. right? Back up your templates before you do that because it deletes all your templates. Do you guys know the templating? Oh my gosh, that's the best feature of NetBeans. Spoken like somebody from Unza. But then again, there's only Unza at the moment, isn't there? Oh, and also messes up all your like night mode, whatever is gone. There's even a best feature. By the way, that's what you see here. This is swing. Just as a side note, yeah, if you want to. This beautiful Windows 95 feel is, is swing, okay? It was on the API warehouse, eh?
API test.
Test. Thank you, Mackie. There's even a best feature, my gosh. Where's all my
Options.
The options are gone, man. What has happened? I remember back in the day, every time you had to reset up swing, FX, whenever you cleared.
Oh, yeah.
Are you aware of that?
I remember Malumbo complaining about it.
Yeah, where's the look and feel appearance?
The appearance?
Okay. All NetBeans can do that. This is even the best feature. And then I touch the plugs. That's back. Okay, tools, options, hey. Okay, tools, options, hey. It's loading as we go, eh? Appearance.
Look and feel.
It's flat dark, eh? I think so. In any case, if you're not in dark mode, you're not a coder. It says the one who coded most of his career in light mode. Yeah, I only switched to dark mode recently. Yeah. I hated my eyes. No, I don't know. Because I have vision issues, I prefer having more. What's that?
Oh, it wants you to restart your thing.
But I tell you, like, once you clear this, the thing is super fast. Like the NetBeans, once it's now open, it's autocomplete and everything just works again. It's like, it's really, no, it's like, it's awesome. But I think I have a lot of issues because I open like 100 projects at a time. Like, I think that what you saw there was the least I've ever had because I haven't coded in like 6 months. Super fast, he said. Let's just see if our servers are still there. Oh no, that's easy enough. It's easy enough. What do you do if you forgot your Tomcat password? Do you know? No, how do you reset it? There's no such option. It's called what? No, don't doubt yourself. What did you say?
You were onto something.
No, there's a tab.
Called what?
I wouldn't remember class, the users part where it shows the.
It's called users, man.
Serious?
Yeah. have to go and hack the user's file because I can't remember. Yeah. Because I remember there was a spelling, what? Program file.
What is program?
I don't even care, you know. Apache Tomcat 10.1, I think is the one I'm using. Conf user, Tomcat user, yeah. So you just open this, and then in here, you call yourself I am hacker, and then you get the user password. Oh my gosh, I need a better PC. People, I'm selling a laptop.
What is it?
I don't know, Mark. Let's just open it in Notepad, right?
Yeah. Oh, wrong one.
Whatever. Chrome it is, or Explorer it is. Username root. There's it, okay.
And that's how you hack your Tomcat.
Oh, view must be 3. Where's view?
No, you have to click outside the project. So view Java packages, the very last part.
Okay, please do not view it any other way. If you do, we will refuse to help you, okay? Like outright refuse.
And even further.
Is this thing still not showing me any errors? Why is this thing in white? Huh? Don't tell me I went through all that effort now for nothing.
Let's see.
Where's the code editor?
Edit,
Not like the look and feel.
Which was it? It has to be
Fonts and colors.
Oh, there it is. Just profile. That was confusing.
So I have to restart again now.
No.
Oh, okay, at least. Oh my gosh, Mark, it's still not giving me an error.
I guess it just knows.
This is not Smart Invoice. This is warehouse. This is not Smart Invoice. What do you mean it just knows? This is not Smart Invoice.
Or maybe it's still busy.
This doesn't claim to be. That's okay. Starting of Tomcat failed. There's my output. Ah, it's just because of recurring. Okay. Let's restart it. Okay. So generally, let's see if we can run this project, and it's gonna bomb, but it's not gonna.
Select deployment server.
Really NetBeans?
Run.
We all know Jakarta E10, right? We're all aware of this setting. Okay.
And again, go back again. Properties. Now you need to set the context path.
You don't have to. But it's good practice. Where's the underrun? Yeah, I'm aware of that. Can you also become aware of it? I feel like I'm giving up on this.
Let's just control it.
Hmm?
Just control
Yeah,
it.
but what is the route?
The correct one will be in the servlet initializer. Like that.
So generally just control H on your entire project. You get your proper route. Well, first you search for the wrong route, replace it with the proper route. Just be careful here that you don't replace anything like utils, or that it's just up until this part that you're doing it. You understand what I mean? So just up until this level. Okay, so continue. And then if your NetBeans was working, you would now see everything has been converted to the right importations and stuff. So why do we have custom RS here? Do we not implement our own custom RS at MCKR level?
Oh no, we do. I think it's just your smart invoicing.
Okay, so let me just delete the ones that we don't need, yeah? Okay, so crucial ones to understand is this, that's the async config. Is this my configuration, right? This is the cause handler. So generally just copy and paste this into your project, but the important one to notice is this set allowed headers, right? So you can get cause people, like if your front ends are sending you headers that's not allowed in your cause, it's going to throw them a cause error. Okay, so you can't just create any header, and unless you're going to say acceptable headers is star, then fine. These are the acceptable pattern, like post, option, get, but basically we just use post and get. I don't think we ever use options or delete or put anymore. Does any of you use put? You use put?
Not now.
No, I'm saying now in our projects, no. We just use post and get. You'll even find a lot of people have just gone to post completely. They don't ever even use get anymore. So post and get covers pretty much every scenario you need. I understand that options and delete and put are technically valid things, but nah, leave it. Okay? Just post and get, it's enough. Yeah, the rest you can just leave here. Okay, so didn't we delete this thing already? It's like my NetBeans is not working at all. Okay, so here's the exceptions class. So here there's a bunch of exceptions that I've copied over now which wouldn't be necessarily valid to this, but you can create your own exceptions, right? Like custom exceptions that, what are you pointing at?
Custom exception there. So where you can give it a code.
Yeah, you can like give it a code and a message, the exception, and it extends the exception class. So meaning this way it will still use error handling. Yes, error handling. Do not fix the spelling on that, please. Please do not fix the spelling on that. Okay, so here you have your bunch of custom things. Then something I'm seeing we're not using is the API filter, right, which you should be using if you have an API key. So what this does is we put it at order 1, meaning we check the API key before reaching the next part. Okay, so that you don't have to on every single thing have to check the API key. You just put it on your project level, and then it will check it for you. And any other URL filtering you want to do, you can do it in this API key filter table. So like here, for example, if you want to stop on this one, we don't want to allow purchases and products because then our server sometimes was down. So instead of us having to then go and change the URLs to make the other apps not hit it, we can just block it at this level here, where if block stock is true and then the URL contains this, then we can block it. So anything you want to do on a URL level, you can do it in this filter. So this happens before it reaches the actual controller. Okay, so all of that type of code you can chuck in here. So here is then API key, whatever the case is. So obviously this is now specific to a specific project, the DBs, but you would implement your own methods and things in the same class. You understand that? The only thing that doesn't work, and maybe you guys can help us with that going forward, is there's supposed to be a way to change the body, right? That you can then include certain data in the body and then forward it to the controller. But I always get I don't know, the body length doesn't want to change. So then you'll add it, but it never reaches the controller. Or you're like making other data not reach you because the length has not been extended. And I've tried several ways, I can't get it extended. But yeah, if you guys can manage that, you can even add data here, like maybe from the API key, let's say when we're working with the Kazang type of thing, from the API key we can get a Kazang user and password, right? So then you can add it to the body here before it reaches the controller. I just can't. Clearly my skill level is not close to good enough to get that done. So this is like a full term. So this is like, yeah, I think here even, yeah, you see here it still is there where I was trying to do that, but I failed. It doesn't work. So for any brave trooper out there that thinks that he can do it, go for it, please. It would be really useful. But generally, any URL filtering and stuff you want to do before it reaches your controller, this is the place to do it. Any check that you want to do on every request, this is the place to do it. Okay. Calculations, I don't think is for every project. Why is there a next button on a delete? No, don't have to delete, just delete. Exceptions we've gone through, cause we've gone through this. Please do not do any async configs. If you don't know what that is, fine. If you don't know what that is, fine, but don't do it, please. Okay, so then we have our error class, right? Which has this error message thing, which is just a way for you to, it's technically not an error message, just any, like if you want to pass a specific message back to the user, so you can set your message and your code, okay? So technically error message is the wrong name for it. It's just the easy way to quickly get your message into a JSON object so that you can return it as a JSON. Do you use this, Mark?
Yeah.
I use this quite a lot, but error message is the wrong word because errors we throw.
Yeah.
We actually use that custom error, that custom exception thing that this one, where's the custom one? This one is normally what you should be using if it's an error, okay? Because then your error is going to go through this error handling class, which then wraps it in a specific format. You understand that? So also, yeah, if you have made an exception that you want specifically, you can do this instance of in your error handling. Okay, and then it will return the error message specifically the way that you want it formatted. You understand what I mean? Okay. Instance of only works in newer projects, don't try it in older projects, doesn't work. Yeah. So does everybody understand what the error handling class does? This error handling, why do we use this? And do you have this in UTOS now? Or it's still per project? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to include it here, okay? Custom RS owner. Why is things not deleting? I'm like hitting delete, but nothing's happening. Do we all understand what this does? No. So when an exception is thrown, right? You need to basically that goes into a catch, a try and a catch, right? So now, if you are to just return that exception, right? It's not a response entity, so it won't work, right? And then maybe if you want to, now you're going to say, okay, I'll get the message, that's a string, and I'll return that in the response, right? But then it will just say like null pointer, okay? So now you can then go in the catch and you can like say, okay, if it's this type of error or this type of error, return it this way, right? But you have to do that for every single catch. So instead of doing it on every single catch, we've created for you a central way, right, to catch your error and handle it properly. So now, for example, when we add sentry, we add it in here, right?
Yeah, listen.
You see here. So we can centrally now manage. Now we don't have to go to every catch and change it. We can just from here quickly add sentry. Are we understanding? Okay. So generally in Java, you should be using things centrally, not coding it in every single thing. The moment you find yourself copy and pasting too much within your project, most likely means you need to create a class for that. Okay, so you can call it from one thing, because when that change happens, now you're going to have to remember everywhere where you need to change it. So it's bad practice to do it that way. So every exception should go through error handling. Okay. JSON requests, I don't know if this is still widely used by other people, is it?
No.
So you use from utils now, right? Yeah, okay. So use the utils JSON request. Now, SQL, always create this in every project. If you're not sure why, go look at your MCQL video again. I explained it there, but it's good to have this. Okay. Utils. Now this is, I don't know if this has mostly been replaced with the standard utils, or it's still needed.
So this is mainly used by, this is like project specific utils. Like say get date VSDC will never apply to smart invoicing, for example. So this is project specific utils. Just if you want a central class for just within your project to have like, okay, I want to be able to quickly like get what's the current date in string format or things like that.
So basically what we're saying is, don't like, who was helping the other day to create a random number, Musonda, right? So us putting that in the controller is bullshit. It shouldn't be in the controller, it should be in utils.
In a utils class.
Yes. Right, that's bullshit to be putting it there. That's lazy coding, and also when there's an error, we'll be struggling to find out where we put that code, okay? Put it in utils, okay? If you find it something that's across several projects, most likely it will be in the utils import you use. Like random number generator should actually be there. Create OTP should be there.
Generating an OTP, for example.
Yeah. So now one thing that's in here that is a must is this. When you're using JSON, it's absolutely crucial that you don't just say JSON G equals new JSON. Okay? Can I have everybody repeat that? Because it's a very big error.
Why? That's my question. Why?
Okay? Never, when you're in your controller, right? Or let's say, fuck, I'm just going to use this as an example. But let's say one JSON here, right? We don't just say JSON G equals new JSON. Okay? It used to be fine, but there's a problem with it now. Okay. The issue is that between Java 11 and Java 17, on dates, right, on local date time, they changed the what do you call it? The security, not security, like private, protected, public. The accessibility, thank you. Gee, somebody here knows code at least. Or at least the jargon that comes with it. So, but they changed the way protected works. Okay? So what used to be accessible in Java 11 under protected is now not available in Java 17 and later with protected. And local date time is one of the things that uses protected. So now when you try and cast a date with JSON in the reflection API, the reflection cannot access the date time anymore. So long story short of that is just, we have already gotten past it. You have to have this like adapter, right? And then when you're creating your JSON, it like registers that adapter, okay? So point being, you need to use like this get JSON. Okay, and not just say JSON new JSON. So basically, if we want a JSON class, oh yeah, exactly like this. Not to do this, exactly like this. Not to do that, but to rather use the get JSON method to get your JSON object. Okay, and then one day NetBeans will realize it's not imported. Yes. Yeah, I don't understand. Okay. Okay, so it looks like I'm an awesome coder because there's no errors. Okay, so that's your utils thing, and then what is web config? I'm not even sure. This is a Malumbu specific thing, I think. Yeah. This can also be ignored. Just delete this. Okay, imagine it's deleted. Okay, I don't know what's happening with my NetBeans. Okay, so that should be pretty much your standard like setup whenever you have a project. Okay, before you create anything else. Then up here, we generally, not in util, sorry. In your warehouse level project, we expect you to have a controller, okay, or plural, singular, technically it should probably be plural. We expect you to have models, okay, we expect you to have logic, okay. That should be generally how your project layout works, okay. Then one thing that none of you are doing that you should is in your controller we expect, let me just open up the other project now, sorry. We expect the global exception handler in your controller. Who does that? Nobody, okay. No wonder that, where's smart IMV? Which one?
That looks like it.
That doesn't. So in your controller you should have that global exception handler. Okay, so we'll now in the next video, I just want to stop the video and start it again, then we'll go into exception handling. But the global exception handler does the formatting of the 400 errors. Okay, you get what I'm saying? The formatting of the 400 errors. Why does this project have errors but mine doesn't? So I think Mackie, there is a way to like create a project template. So maybe even if you can take this one that we've created now and set it up as a project template, or at least make it available in a repo for everybody that this is our project template. Okay, so I don't think it's, if you want to, you can go through what's happening in here, but I don't think it's too crucial. The only thing you need to know is that this controller advice, right, basically attaches it to your controller. It's like almost like making all your REST controllers extended. So that's what this controller advice does. As far as I understand, it needs to be either on the same level or on top of all your controllers. Okay, I don't, as far as I can remember, like if you chuck it in utils, it doesn't work. It has to be in the controllers that you want it attached to. So I don't know how exactly it works. I'm sure if you go and study, there'll be a valid reason for it, but I'm not sure. So that's our basic project structure. Maki, did I miss anything?
No.
Right, that's pretty much it. Questions, answers, comments? Oscar, no questions? You good? Every project's gonna have all the things we mentioned here? Huh?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Wanda?
So on that, there are some projects which are logic, others are services.
No, services is part of your logic.
Yeah, so it's interchangeable, that name.
Yeah. So, but look, all we want is like that basic outline. So if you want to call it logic, services, doesn't really matter, models, so that your data models is separated from your logic. And even in here, generally, you would want to like do either like JSON, JSON, depending on how you're going to name it, like JSON models and DB models. just so that you have that separation. Okay. It's not a must. It just makes it easier when we need to read your projects that we actually know what we're looking at. Okay. But me and Mac actually know how to code, so we can also read your code and understand. But the project structure does help a little bit, and I'm sure as more project managers and shit come in, it will be easier for them to read if we just structure it a bit better. And also when we're presenting it to VCs, it will be easier for them to understand what's actually happening. Okay. Happy?
Is the code in here any different from the code in the error handling class?
The what?
The controller class.
Oh no, it's completely different.
What he's asking about this?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is for 400 errors.
Only.
Only. So this goes hand in hand with the add valid.
Okay, can I give you an example? So you know, like.
But we're gonna go into that right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna stop the video and then we'll go into the 400 error thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we even on the same desktop as what's recording?